Yes, my Straight Talk family, when you see this time on a Thursday or a Monday, then it's time for me to say good night, St. Kitts and Nevis. Time for me to say good night, Caribbean. Time for me to say good night to the world. Because we have our Kittitian and Nevisian diaspora all over the world. So I want to say good night, perhaps, to the diaspora. I can't say good morning. I can't say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. Some of you are in Africa. I know that some of you are in Asia. There's some of you in Europe. And there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty, as I said, to extend such greetings. For those who are joining me for the first time, yes, Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest. Some of it may be technological, some of it political, economic, social. And my Straight Talk family, most of you I know love the political for some reason or not. But again, if you're joining me for the first time, we are an inclusive program. By that I mean we entertain your calls, we entertain your emails. And if you're so minded to call, the numbers are 646-829-6672 and or 869-663-6672. Let us say a special good night to our WinFM Massive. For WinFM 98.9 is always in the house, as well with Straight Talk, and we are grateful to have them on board our sister station. Let's say good night to the ferry terminal. Susie, Sashimali, Jasmine. What about Boy Blues Poke? Haven't seen that for a long time. I've seen you had some ballahu. But yes, my good friends all over culture, Mr. Politics, Jam Down, Alice. How's my sister Marge and my sister Joan? And I can go on and on, lest I omit or overlook some names. Let me say good night to everyone. Those at NASPA, those at SCASPA, those on the beat, the police officers on the beat. We're having some issues about the essential workers or frontline workers. I understand they've come to some agreement in terms of who is essential or who is frontline. But before going into my thesis tonight, my Straight Talk family, and my thesis is entitled Bone in Me Rice and Kentucky Fried. But before going into my thesis, I want us to address some observations. We normally have our observations in review, which you are aware of. We haven't had it for the last program. I don't think we had. But before I do, I want to, again, as I said, look at my observations in review. And in so doing, my Straight Talk family, in so doing, I raise once again the correctional facility, as we call it in colloquial parlance, the prison project. Now, Straight Talk was reliably informed, and Prime Minister Drew has to date not denied it, and he cannot deny it, that he has signed about 1,500 citizenship by investment applications. He has not touched it, he has not denied it, and he cannot deny it. Prime Minister Drew has been silent on this matter, while his AG has said that it's on pause. His AG said that the prison project is on pause, and that one caught me by surprise, a Straight Talk family. And I'm sure we are not
You mentioned
aware of that
projects
as well. And we talk about transparency.
That has been spoken about a lot. It's the prison project, right? Where are, let me not say ask where, but have you as an administration figured out what the way forward as to that project?
I can tell you two things in relation to that without going into the great detail. It's on pause, one, and it's the prison is not a priority for this administration.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
That may be a joke, but joke to the butcher is what they say about the cow, you know that. But that is what A.G. Wilkin told Jamie McPhail on freedom issues some time ago. But what is the accurate situation, Prime Minister? And furthermore, the country still needs to know if it is true that to date approximately 30,000 passports have already been sold under the CBI. 30,000 passports. That means 30,000 citizens out there, somewhere out there. In 2018, there were over 16,000 economic citizens out there, mainly Chinese and Russians, and this was reported back in 2018.
Last time I had reported that under the program we were advised by the Canadian banknote, who manages our passport, the 10,777 had been issued at the end of December 2015, and we have the revised information from the banknote, which says that up to 2015, really, the figure should have been 12,496. And the total number of CBI passports now issued stands at 16,544.
16,544 citizens out there without passports, and I said mainly Chinese and Russians, and that was 2018. So what is the figure now between 2018 and 2022? And since 2022, Prime Minister Zhu, we have been reliably informed, signed 1,500 citizenship by investment applications since taking office. Since taking office, he said he's on a honeymoon. But while on honeymoon, he signed some 1,500 applications. Why shouldn't the country know how many Russians have our passports? Why shouldn't the country know how many Chinese have our passports? Why shouldn't the country know how many Africans have our passports? Why shouldn't the country know who has our passports? They are bona fide citizens like you and I. We want to know who they are. That's a simple question. But the Prime Minister, you are preaching transparency. Then all we are asking you is to practice what you are preaching.
We are committed to remaining transparent. Committed to remaining transparent and accessible. We are committed to remaining transparent and accessible.
That's all we want you to do. Remain transparent and accessible. Another burning issue, because there are quite a lot of state secrets all of a sudden. All of a sudden we have quite a lot of state secrets. Another burning issue is the issue relating to our distinguished Governor General, Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton. History has taught us that every time the Labour Party took the reins of power, the Governor General was changed or fired. Reflect. It started with Governor General Arundel, a legal scholar. Now it seems, according to your comments, Prime Minister, it is the turn for another brilliant scholar, brilliant legal scholar, and an exemplary servant to go. What have you done, or what you have done, I should say, at your press conference, Prime Minister Drew, is unbecoming of a Prime Minister. And here's what you did and said at your press conference.
As a matter of fact, there's a high possibility the House. And there is also the prospect of our first female Governor General. Let's stay tuned for announcements.
And that's commendable. Moving to the women. A woman gonna rule us one day, I believe. But what is going on with our distinguished son of the soil and the representative of the king? Don't you think we ought to know? We should know. Because Straight Talk, for example, is in possession of a proclamation. We are in possession of a proclamation signed by Governor General Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton. And it is dated the 17th day of October, and summoning and appointing a session of the National Assembly. And it reads in part, and I quote, whereas a general election of members of the National Assembly was held on the 5th day of August 2022, and writs therefore duly returned. And whereas it is provided by Section 1 of Section 46 of the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis, that each session of the National Assembly shall be held at such place and shall commence at such time as the Governor General may by proclamation appoint. And whereas it is expedient that the National Assembly should be summoned, and the time and place for the first sitting therefore duly appointed, now therefore I, Sir Samuel Weymouth Tapley Seaton, Knight Grand Cross of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George, Commander of the Royal Victorian Order, King's Counsel, Justice of Peace, Doctor of Laws, Governor General of St. Christopher and Nevis, in exercise of the powers in me vested, herein before recited, and all other powers me thereunto enabling, do by this my proclamation summon the National Assembly and appoint Tuesday the 26th day of, Tuesday the 25th day of October 2022 at 10 o'clock in the forenoon at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort Hotel in the island of St. Christopher as the time and place at which the first sitting of the said National Assembly shall be held for the dispatch of public business. And all officers and loving subjects in St. Christopher and Nevis and all others whom it may concern are hereby required to take due notice hereof and give their ready obedience accordingly, given under the hand and the public seal of St. Christopher and Nevis at Government House before this the 17th day of October 2022. But my Straight Talk family, Straight Talk is also in possession of the order paper. The order paper for this sitting. And it gives some interesting reading, I may add. The order paper, as I said, provides some interesting reading. is the order paper for the first meeting of the National Assembly, open of Parliament, to be held, as I said before, at the Royal St. Kitts Marriott Resort Ballroom on Tuesday at 10 a.m. And very interesting, the order paper reads, starts with the prayer, election of speaker, oath, affirmation of allegiance by the speaker, election of the deputy speaker, and it goes on. But what caught my attention, and it should catch yours as well, is it says on item number 13, entry of the Governor General's deputy. You heard that? Entry of the Governor General's deputy, speech from the throne. That's very interesting, don't you find it? The Governor General issues a proclamation, but the Governor General's deputy enters to read the throne speech. And that's the order paper in our possession. As I said, lo and behold, it is the Governor General's deputy cited for reading the throne speech next week, Tuesday. And we ask ourselves, what is going on? The country needs to know. These state secrets are not good, because the Constitution speaks clearly to the establishment of the office of Governor General. And it says, and I quote, there shall be for St. Christopher and Nevis a Governor General who shall be a citizen by Her Majesty, shall be a citizen appointed, beg your pardon, by Her Majesty, and shall hold office during Her Majesty's pleasure, and who shall be Her Majesty's representative in St. Christopher and Nevis. It also speaks to an acting Governor General. And it says, during any period when the office of the Governor General is vacant, or the whole of the office is absent from St. Christopher and Nevis, or is for any reason unable to perform the functions of his or her office, those functions shall be performed by such person as Her Majesty may appoint. Any person appointed under this subsection shall hold the office during Her Majesty's pleasure, and shall in any case cease to perform the functions of the office of the Governor General if the whole of the office of Governor General has notified him or her that he or she is about to assume or resume those functions. But very interesting, under subsection 3 of section 22 of the Constitution, it said the whole of the office of Governor General shall not, for the purposes of this section, be regarded as absent from St. Christopher and Nevis, or as unable to perform the function of his or her office. A, by reason that he or she is in passage from one part of St. Christopher and Nevis to another. Or B, at any time when there is a subsisting appointment of a deputy under subsection 23(1). And under subsection 23(1), it says, when the Governor General has occasion to be absent from the seat of government, but not from St. Christopher and Nevis, has occasion to be absent from St. Christopher and Nevis for a period that he or she considers in his own or her own deliberate judgment will be of short duration, or is suffering from an illness that he or she considers in his or her own deliberate judgment will be of short duration. And it goes on and on, my straight dog family. But questions need to be asked about our Governor General. The situation with the Governor General is a state secret. So too was the supervisor of elections until we heard this. Until we heard this, my straight dog family, the position of supervisor of elections was also a state secret.
We remain committed to ensuring a free. We have appointed Mr. Oakland Peets as the new supervisor of elections. remain committed to ensuring a free and fair electoral process, and as part of this commitment, we have appointed Mr. Oakland Peets as the new supervisor of elections.
Another state secret revealed. And Section 34 of the Constitution says quite clearly, there shall be a supervisor of elections whose duty it shall be to exercise general supervision over the registration of voters in elections of representatives and over the conduct of such elections. And it goes on to speak about the functions of the office of the supervisor of elections. But very interesting, it says under subsection 6 of section 34, I think it is, yes, section 34, under subsection 6. It reads, and I quote, in the exercise of his or her powers under subsection 2, the Governor General shall act in his or her own deliberate judgment after consulting the Prime Minister, the Premier, and the Leader of the Opposition. Now, Bailey resigned since August the 12th, well over a month ago. And very interesting, they then heard of the Leader of Opposition. And Section 58 speaks to the Leader of the Opposition, my Straight Dog family. And it says, and I quote, they shall, except at times when no representative is eligible for appointment, be a leader of the opposition in the National Assembly who shall be appointed by the Governor General. It goes on, when or whenever there is occasion for the appointment of a leader of the opposition, the Governor General shall appoint the representative who appears to him or her most likely to command the support of a majority of the representatives who did not support the government. And we reflect. We reflect years ago when then Premier Vance Emery, may so rest in peace, commanded the majority of support of representatives on the opposition bench. And what happened? The late Vance Emery ceded his support to the late Malcolm Gishard. Another occasion arose. And what did Vance Emery do? He ceded his support to Mark Brantley. So one must ask the question, nonetheless, whether Mark Brantley supports or do not support the government. Because the Constitution says, the Governor General shall appoint the representative who appears to him or her most likely to command the support of a majority of the representatives. Who, underline this, who do not support the government. Does Mark Brantley support or do not support the government? Remember, Mark Brantley is on record saying that he spent his political career fighting with Labour. Yes. You think I fabricate that? We don't do that on Straight Up. Mark Brantley said in no uncertain terms that he spent his political career fighting Labour. So we ask the question again tonight, is Mark Brantley supporting Labour or not? It's not a straightforward question to Mark Brantley. Does Mark Brantley support Labour? And according to the Constitution, we heard what I just read, my Straight Dog family. And I asked the question, is Mark Brantley supporting the government or not?
In my own country, I've spent a political career fighting against the Sinkers Nevis Labour Party. and its wholly owned subsidiary in Nevis, the Nevis Reformation Party. We have spent a political career fighting against the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party and its wholly owned subsidiary in Nevis, the Nevis Reformation Party.
And that's Mark Brantley. But that was then. But today, Mark Brantley has to be considered the biggest snake in the parliament. And I say so because Mark Brantley has run Nevis broke. Mark Brantley has taken Nevis to the brink of bankruptcy. He has a $53 million deficit in his budget. And in his budget presentation, in December of last year for his budget for 2022, this is what Mark Brantley said to the Nevis Island Assembly.
The expenditure budget for the upcoming fiscal year, we are prepared to project that we shall collect the amount of $131.4 million in recurrent revenue. We expect our recurrent revenue to be augmented by the remittance of at least $45 million from the federal government in respect of a share of revenue under the CBI program. The expenditure budget for the upcoming fiscal year is set at $229 million. We are prepared to project that we shall collect the amount of $131.4 million in recurrent revenue. We expect our recurrent revenue to be augmented by the remittance of at least $45 million from the federal government in respect of a share of revenue under the CBI program.
Now you be the judge, because I've always told you that mathematics is my strongest weak point. An expenditure projected for $229 million. That's what he can spend. To pay for his expenses in his revenue, and he projected $131 million. So he starts with $98 million in the red. $98 million. And he expects budgetary support from St. Kitts of some $45 million. But that still leaves him $53 million in the red. So, ask the question. Ask the question about his plans as the leader of the opposition. Ask the question. You ask the question yourselves, my straight dog family. Mark Brantley racked up nearly $500 million in debt. $500 million in debt. I didn't fabricate that. He said this himself, my straight dog family.
Mr. President, I wish to report that the total debt 2021 stood at $440.1 million, which represents an increase of 1.2% when compared to the amount of $434.8 million as at December 31st, 2020. This increase of just $5.3 million in the debt stock is primarily due to the capitalization of the monthly interest payments on the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank Limited's restructured loan as a result of the agreed upon moratorium.
My straight dog family, the Premier of Nevis, being the leader of the opposition, must be a cause for concern. And yes, he has already started to butter up. He's already started to butter up Prime Minister Joe. He started pretty early. And you know what he said? This is what he said, my Straight Dog family.
You asked about fair share. Well, that Prime Minister Drew on 2 or 3 occasions during this press conference, because as I said, thus far, he has been a man of his word. Thus far, in terms of our discussions and the issues, he has responded positively. You asked about fair share. Well, that, of course, continues to be an issue. I mentioned Prime Minister Drew on 2 or 3 occasions during this press conference, because as I said, thus far, he has been a man of his word. Thus far, in terms of our discussions and the issues, he has responded positively.
And that's the leader of the opposition, Brantley. I will repeat, as I said earlier, is a big snake in the parliament. And I continue to use that proposition as a metaphor for hidden dangers to warn Prime Minister Drew about Brantley's political reputation. He must be warned. You remember what he said about Prime Minister Harris? Best Prime Minister ever. Best relationship ever between St. Kitts and Nevis. Drew. Prime Minister Drew, beware of that big snake in the parliament. My final observation in review is some very good news. St. Kitts and Nevis listed among top 10 richest countries in the Americas. Ain't that good news? Coming from an online Indian journal. And it reads, in part, after some 7 years of prudent fiscal management, a rapidly developing tourism industry, and a revived, revamped, and re-energized CBI program, all led by former Prime Minister Timothy Harris of St. Kitts and Nevis, or rather, Timothy Harris, St. Kitts and Nevis can now boast its status as not only the richest country in the OECS, but also among the top 10 in the Americas as far as GDP. With a GDP of over $18,000, St. Kitts and Nevis is ranked 9, ahead of 8th ranked Barbados. If it's 9, it should be behind. But in terms of quality of life, the people, the United States, in terms of quality of life, beg your pardon, of people, the United States is the richest country in the North American continent. However, taking the factor GDP per capita into consideration, Bermuda currently stands at first rank. But good news for St. Kitts and Nevis, ranked 8th ahead of Barbados 9th. That's how it should really be. My Straight Dog family, those are my observations in review for tonight. And my thesis for tonight, as I said earlier, and I'll move through it quite quickly, is bones in me rice and Kentucky fried. It derived from a call received. It derived from a call received from a friend of mine from Nevis on Monday. And he was in a real livid mood and told me that he was furious after listening to a comment made by the Prime Minister at his press conference. My friend, imagine, he said, Prime Minister Drew had a golden opportunity to stop politicking and start governing. But I'm so disappointed that he dropped the ball big time. Dr. Drew promised a new day and a better way, but he dropped the ball big time. Big time, my Straight Dog family.
We
That's what my
remain
friend
committed
said.
to providing a new day and a better way will be delivered. Remain committed to providing a new day and a better way. And as promised, a new day and a better way will be delivered.
My Straight Talk family, respectfully, there's nothing new about his leadership compared to his predecessors in the Labour Party, the Right Honourable Robert Llewellyn-Bradshaw, and his godson, the Right Honourable Llewellyn-Douglas. My friend went on. My grandfather told us that Bradshaw promised divisions bowls in their eyes and pepper in their soup. That's what my friend said to me. And he was still in this mood, my Straight Talk family. But my Straight Talk family, I said to you, and I'll say again, my friend was living. And lots been talked about what Bradshaw said. But this is what former parliamentarian Swanston had to say. Very interesting.
The Labour Party came to Nevis and held a political. And Eugene Walwyn spoke on that platform. And his words to the people of Nevis was, you know who I am here with? I am here with Robert Llewellyn-Bradshaw. This is the man who promised you bone in your rice and pepper in your soup. But instead of getting bone in your rice and pepper in your soup, you get chicken pilau in your rice, and the pepper was like okra.
My friend went on. My mother worked as a senior public officer in the NIA, and Douglas bounced her monthly salary check. That's what my friend said in his angry voice. My Straight Talk family.
My fellow citizens, my fellow Nevisians, I wish on behalf of the Nevis Island administration to apologize to the Nevis public servants for the inconvenience caused today when they did not get their salaries as expected. This source of embarrassment to the NIA and the people of Nevis generally must never be allowed to happen again. The National Bank, our creditors, have agreed to honor the checks of the Nevis Island administration and to pay the salaries for the month of April. The situation, therefore, has been temporarily resolved, but it's my hope, my fervent hope, that we shall be able to have a permanent resolution to the financial arrangements with the National Bank as soon as we're able to meet after Friday, the 25th of April.
No, my friend continued, I can tell my children that Jew did not give us bone in me rice, nor pepper in me soup. But hear what? He gave us Kentucky fried chicken. That's what Jew gave us.
I have come to recognize more than ever that Kittitians and Nevisians, we have rediscovered each other and we have rediscovered each island. Nevis had become the go-to island for Kittitians, and St. Kitts had become the go-to island for Nevisians. You have people from St. Kitts who say, let's catch the boat and go over Nevis for dinner or lunch. And Nevisians over there say, let's go back there, go buy some Kentucky fried chicken.
Jew don't know his place, shouted my friend in an angry voice. Patches, you know me come a St. Kitts for breakfast and we meet at Park Hyatt. Patches, you come a Nevis and we go on Yashman Grill for breakfast. Me and my wife come St. Kitts at night and we go on Marshalls for dinner. Another night we meet, another day we meet at Reggae Beach for lunch. Had a nice lobster salad. You come on Nevis and we go on your friend Sunshine for lunch. The last time Sunshine was so glad to see you and break the cork for a nice bottle of red wine. And that's how it's going on for donkey years. Who this Jew be Patches, my friend asked. And went on. If me want nice chicken, me have to go St. Kitts. If me want nice chicken, me go down by Rodney. Rodney got nice chicken. Drew forward and must take it back. But Nevis people rediscover St. Kitts and don't catch boat to come by Kentucky Fried Chicken. He out of order. My friend went on. And my friend went on and on and on. But I can tell you, he will never forgive Joe for this stupid comment about Nevis jump on boat to come catch Kentucky chicken. Joe out of order, my friend continued.
Covered each other, and we discovered each island. Nevis had become the go-to island for Kittitians, and St. Kitts had become the go-to island for Nevisians. You have people from St. Kitts who say, let's catch the boat and go over Nevis for dinner or lunch. And Nevisians over there say, let's go back there, go buy some Kentucky Fried Chicken.
And my friend continued. But it's just how them labor people think about Ari, my friend concluded. Seriously thinking though, and when we scan the historical relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis, you would find that there has always been a love-hate bonding between the labor leaders in particular and the Nevis Island administration leadership of the day. And one can glean from the empirical facts, because way back in 1882, when St. Kitts and Nevis and Anguilla were joined, they were united by the Federal Act and gained associated status in February 1967, gained associated status from Britain. Soon thereafter, Anguilla complained of domination by the St. Kitts Nevis or by the St. Kitts administration. And by May 1967, Anguilla ejected the St. Kitts police and established their own council. The rest is history. Anguilla was placed directly under British control in 1971. And on February 10, 1976, Anguilla was granted a constitution and its union with St. Kitts and Nevis was formally severed in 1980. The accounts I heard about Bradshaw all indicated, nevertheless, that he had good intentions for Nevis. But it was his strategy. The strategy that Bradshaw employed was one that focused mainly on the development of St. Kitts, while Nevis and Anguilla were left undeveloped. That caused my grandfather, who became the government shipwright, that caused him to migrate to St. Kitts. That is what made me a Nevisian born in St. Kitts. We spent vacation in Nevis as a young boy. I remember looking across the channel, looking down to St. Kitts and see those lights like Little New York. The Nevisian experience with the Labour Party under Bradshaw, then under his godson Douglas, and now under Joe, albeit very short, would be no better. In 2014, Douglas made mistakes with Nevis based on bad advice. Nevisians will never forget the bouncing of the NIA checks for the Nevis government workers. Brantley, meanwhile, has run Nevis bankrupt, and he's looking now for Joe to throw him a lifeline. But they both started on the wrong footing. wrong footing, because Nevis is just CCM, perhaps. Because the Fair Share Committee on Nevis is only comprised of CCM supporters. Is Nevis just CCM? Nevis, the Fair Share Committee, as I said, is just comprised of CCM supporters. Is that the right approach? Is that the way anyone should go? These are the questions one will ask. And I'm asking the questions right now because we ought to have answers for these questions. The Nevis Island Administration, or the CCM to be exact, is the only members comprising the committee to deal with the issues of fair share on Nevis. And something has to be wrong with that, because Mark Brantley, when asked the question, made this response about the Fair Share Committee, and it ought to give us some concern, my straight dog family. It ought to provide some concern because we need to get this thing right. We need to get this here right, because this is not right whatsoever. I was trying to find that soundbite, but I'll move on, my straight dog family. I'll get it for you later. But the committee is only comprised, sadly, only comprised of members of the CCM, and something has to be wrong with that, my straight dog family. Something has to be wrong if that committee is only comprised of divisions. And I believe and I hope that it would be sorted out sooner rather than later. And yes, here's it, my straight dog family, as indicated here by Premier Brantley.
Could you just give us an update as to where that has gone?
I didn't say it was established. I said it was being established.
Okay.
So we have nominated our members to that committee. I've written to the Prime Minister indicating who the people from Nevis would be, 3 persons. It will be led from the cabinet of the NIA by the Honorable Troy Liburd, and we have the legal advisor, Madam Helen Lewis, and Mr. Colin Doe, our permanent secretary of the Ministry of Finance. Those will be the troika from Nevis, and they now will join those from the Prime Minister's side in Sinkis to sit and have this discussion. So that was one of the matters that he and I discussed yesterday, and we look forward to that committee being formed.
And my straight dog family, the question then arises: how could fair share for Nevis be determined by CCM only? And we can also ask a question: how could fair share for St. Kitts be determined by the Labour Party only? Is this the new day and better way? You promise to serve with transparency and integrity. That was your promise. So where is the transparency and where is the integrity? Are questions, are pertinent questions that we can ask. We can ask those questions because they are pertinent questions, my straight dog family. So where is this transparency and where is this integrity? And I'm disappointed, as I conclude, with those in the media. And I said some years ago, there is corruption in the media. The media, or the fourth estate, should be the voice of the masses. The media in St. Kitts and Nevis, sorry to say, some of us, I include myself, some of us are acting like palace guards for this new government and allowing it to continue to politic instead of conducting the policy and affairs of the country. So often you hear about treasury rapists or some dark, deep hole where money was going to. Well, if you have information, make it public. Put people on the spot. But we don't want no bone in me rice. We don't want no pepper in me soup. And we don't want no Kentucky fried chicken. We don't want no Kentucky fried chicken. I repeat, Prime Minister Joe. We don't want no Kentucky fried chicken. We don't want no 10 Kentucky fried chicken. If you had to wait until you come Prime Minister to rediscover Nevis, you could stop there and eat Kentucky. But me gonna stop in Nevis by my big friend Rodney. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I'm going to open the lines. I tired for some time because I wanted to get out all of the observations in review in particular. But the lines are now open, my Straight Talk family. But I must implore you. I always must implore you when I do so, and I'll do so just now, that I expect you to respect others. And to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us in the process say and do things that are beneficial to all concerned. And in so doing, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, I go to the lines and say, caller, good night. I thank you for holding. You are live.
Good evening, Patrick. Hope all is well, sir.
Oh, I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Good. First of all, Kentucky is the national dish of St. Kitts. So,
it is.
Tell the guy when it comes to is the national dish. That's the national dish. Women St. Kitts don't cook no more.
I thought it was ackee and saltfish. I thought the national dish was ackee and saltfish. Saltfish and dumpling.
No, that's ackee and saltfish is Jamaican.
Not ackee, sorry. Dumpling and saltfish, sorry.
No, Kentucky. The women in St. Kitts don't cook. The women in Nevis, they don't cook no more. Anyhow, well, this is what it is. That's the national dish. Chinese, them Chinese thing. But women in St. Kitts don't cook no. As the women in Nevis don't either. No, it's that secrecy that you're talking about coming from you. It's getting the people of St. Kitts very scared. Because what the people are looking at is another Douglas coming. You got to remember, Labour have a thing to want to be fascist. And Mr. Joe, he don't need to go that way. Cause I was saying, when you see my enjoying being prime minister, cause in that meeting, that cabinet meeting, he was saying hello to all his, all of his body in the hood, He was up there calling them up, hey, this. So I said he was having fun, during the thing. But like I said, it seemed that what happened is that Joe lived in America for a little while. So that kind of helps. Not unlike Douglas, who never lived in nowhere really outside of St. Kitts. He never really lived anywhere. So he had that tribal fascist way about him. You remember he used to tell the people in St. Paul to cost the people in that, cost them long and cost them hard. He used to tell that to the people. Cost them long and cost them hard. And now you see the same thing as you aptly said. This thing with this thing in pulling this thing by Ratchel's monument in St. Paul. And you call it tribal, and you're right. I'm surprised our friend Sam went along with stuff like that. What is this? You're playing tribal stuff with your black people as they are in Africa? No. You have a capitalist there, and everybody must be there. What you done in St. Paul? It's all about Douglas. Ratchel will left St. St. Paul's, and he never looked back. He didn't want a part of St. Paul, just like Douglas don't want to St. Paul. Douglas is all over, married this and that and all over the place. So like I said, the national dish is Kentucky in St. Kitts. Joe is getting the people scared when he start hiding everything like this, You see much the thing for him, because we're getting it from you ain't getting nothing too, so we gotta watch it. I don't know what Douglas is starting to get trained here, but we don't want that. And the thing for independence, there must be in vast, that is vast that belong to everybody. This is the capital of the nation, not Charter, not this bastard. Okay? It's all about Douglas putting Gratchen into move it to St. Paul. What kind of tribalism? But anyhow,
Okay.
Patrick, I could go some more, but I'm not going to go on because I know you're going to say I'm going on too far. But bear in mind, national dish, Kentucky, the secrecy that we're getting out to do now, he got to be careful.
Okay.
Because we've seen that he lived in America and he's, he should know a little better. We're not everybody live in America. A lot of people still got savage ways, tribal ways.
Okay.
But anyhow,
Thanks a lot.
this is it for now. I'm not going to stay long, talk or stay long, but I'm not going to change, and I must go. Remember the three things. National dish, doing getting people scared, and he can do better by not listening over there to that guy Douglas. But like I said, he seems to be enjoying it. He was up in that thing, shouting up his friend from the hood. Hey, EK, this, hey, that. But anyhow, hopefully he does better. Passion, God bless you for Syncit, man. Without you, Syncit is finished with. Have a good one.
Have a good night, my dear brother. Thank you very much. You said that the national dish is what? Caller, you're live. I want to thank you for holding your live. Are you there, caller?
Yeah, it's me. It's me.
How about though, my dear
People
family?
with this action. Hello.
How are you doing, my dear family? Is it South Carolina, right? Am I correct? Are you there?
Hello, yes, I'm here. Is it me?
Yes. Is it South Carolina? Did I get it right?
Yes, yes, yes.
I got it right for once.
You really raised with Granny. You raised with Granny. Where you coming with this colloquial talk every week? Snake in government, bones in the rice, Kentucky, and no, you, hey, careful, cuz, careful. I see leaks coming too.
You see what? Leaks? Leaks, okay.
L-E-A-K-S, leaks. Yes,
Okay,
careful, mind, careful.
All right.
Okay. Anyway, be careful. I love you. Keep on your talks. I'm listening.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Have a good night as well, my dear.
Yes, thank
Family
you.
there.
Bye.
I hope Carolina is doing well. Yes, my Straight Talk family, we're looking at the bone in the rice and the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Remember, someone just said it's our national dish. I don't know that to be so. But let's go back to the lines. I call you live. Hello, caller? Yes, caller, you're live. I'm sorry about that. Caller. Yes. Yes, my dear brother. Major, turn your, please turn your radio down, Major, please. Major.
Yes. Okay.
Turn your radio down, Major. Turn your radio down.
It's down.
Okay. What's on your mind? What's on your mind, Major?
You know, someone still I want to ask you, but I ain't gonna ask you this one because you said they don't ask you. So what I want to find out from you, listen, my man, ready or not? You hear what sound? Ready or not? Or not? Or not? Let me ask you, what kind of relationship you want?
You got to.
What are you ready for? Because many people say they desire a serious relationship, but they only love people who don't love them back. What do you think about that?
Only love people who don't love them back.
Huh?
I'm listening, Major. I'm listening.
Yes. So, you hear what I said?
Yes,
I wanted to. You see, I asked the relationship because, you see, we're talking about Sinkit and Nevis, and we're talking about chicken and all them kind of things. You know, I got it like a joke and so on. So I just want to know the relationship that you want.
You want a fair relationship, an equitable relationship. You want equity, as we said. Must be fairness for all.
Yeah.
This is no rediscovery. We've always had a good relationship with Nevis, but some politicians messed that up. Okay? Yes.
Okay.
Have a good night, Major.
You see, we need a serious relationship.
Yes.
Because as I said, many people say that, well, my mother born in Sinkit, my mother born in Nevis, the father born in Nevis, but I born in Sinkit. So therefore, I had to go with the Nevis people. They're telling me so all the time, but I'm studying them because I know where I born. I know where I born, and nobody at all who knew to Sinkit. Nobody.
Okay. I got you, Major.
Yeah?
I got you loud and
clear. Well, one more question now. This fella asked me to tell you is how much bubble a 2 cable strokes will give in a tub. You understand that?
Have a good night. Have a good night, Major.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a good night, Major. Paul out.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for your input. Major Jones, always in the interrogative mood. Caller, I want to thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Stratak.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Stratak.
How are you?
How are you?
I am peaceful, my brother.
Mr. Stratak, I've been looking for you for the longest while. My friend called me from Maryland and she said, you know, Stratak is on YouTube. I said, no. She said, yes, I'm going to give you the number. But then I called and I said, what's going on with my Stratak? He let me know that you won't be coming back and I said, but you're going to be on here. So I've been patiently waiting. For one night, my brother put on his TV, and there he was. And he called me same time while we were talking, and he said, you know, Stratak is on TV right now. I said, what you talking about? And I was listening you in Sankit on his TV, and I'm in America. So he put up the TV volume, and I'm there listening. You said you're going to be on Win FM. And I said, oh, God bless Stratak. So here you are. But I just called you to let you know that I'm listening. I just want me and you to sit down and talk some things. But I don't know how to get in touch with you. So can I still use this number?
Yes, you can. You can.
Okay, well, it's good. So, Mr. Stratak, I got you now, and we're going to catch up. I just want to say that I'm here with you. And God bless you for what you're doing. I said to myself, Mr. Jew, enjoy yourself. Do whatever you're going to do. But you see, it thing with man, it gets to the head. And once it gets to the head, because Unity was doing well.
True.
But what happened to Sean and Mark, you already said, no, Sean, don't go put the board in a bush. Keep the board that you have in your hand. Yes. And he went after the one in the bush. Mr. Stratak, you was right. See you when I see you. I love you. We're going to have fun together.
Yes,
because the whole world listens to you now.
Yes, my dear brother. See you when I see you. I love you more. Hope things are well with you.
Good.
Hope things are well with you.
Yes, it's well. It is well. Good to see you when I see you. Be good.
Be good as well, my dear brother. It's always good to hear from you over there in the Big Apple. It's now 6 minutes past 9 o'clock. We go straight back to the lines. A caller, are you on line?
We go straight back to the line. A caller.
Caller, take your radio off, take your equipment, turn it down, and just listen to your telephone. Can you?
I'll turn it down.
Thank you very much. Turn it right down. Turn it right off. Listen to this
You
telephone.
right up, you right up.
Okay, my brother. What's on your mind? Sounds like the Bible man.
Well, now, I stay on my bed. And me put over in me, but I don't mind. And I think about you very seriously, Mr. Patrick. Mr. Patrick, you are doing a great job.
Trying, my brother. I'm trying.
And God is going to bless you mightily. Do not take no defeat, nor discourage, because I hear you say you the pack up and never do not do it. And that's the devil want. Do not do it, Mr. Patrick. No go up in our heels. Do what God called you to do. You look like you just like Moses to bring the children out of the land to get them to the Red Sea. Be courage, Mr. Patrick. Mr. Patrick, the word of God says, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord your God. Patrick, don't be afraid. Patrick, the word of God says, well, hear this. The word of God said, you in Psalm 41, and read the whole passage scripture, the passage. Blessed is the man who considereth the poor. In the time of trouble, the Lord shall deliver him. Mr. Patrick, God tells Moses, I tell Joshua, there shall not a man to able to stand before you all the days of your life. But people don't like to hear the truth. So the enemy is not going to crack them out. But you are not to be afraid. They are more with you and what with them. So you don't get no discouraged and no discouraged. You are doing a great job. And this is the last thing I'm going to tell you. And I said to myself, I am going to come on the ear and I am going to encourage you and you stand up.
Okay.
You hear? You hear?
I heard you loud and clear, man.
This is the last thing I'm telling you. Do you hear that the Prime Minister of England resigned?
Yes, she did today. Yeah.
You know what happened to that? Force make water go up, kid. I will see you all the best.
All the best to you, my dear brother. You take care of yourself. That's the Bible man. And yes, for those who have just joined me, our caption tonight is Born in Me Rice and Kentucky Fried Chicken. Let us go to the lines. Meantime, caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Hello. Good evening, Patches.
How are you, my dear brother, Culture?
Oh, I'm great, man. I'm great. I'm doing good. But, Patches, I want to say something. Little children who goes to kindergarten school, they don't call in and talk shows. And if you had to tell little children, whether we were calling it, turn your volume of your equipment down or off or move away from it, because it sounds terrible as a back feeding instrument. please let all of us who just call in always remember that. Turn your radio down or off. It depends on how close you are to the equipment. Because we cannot hear clearly what you are saying. That is what start wrong cannot end right. And that come out of the book. And the good book also says, all men are liars. So when certain persons say something and they don't live up to it, I'm not too surprised. Not even one surprise. I expected that. Because the book says so, and we are living up to the prophecy of the Bible. The Prime Minister in England, she made 45 runs, 42 dot balls, and three wide. And she was out. Because when she went in there, she did certain things wrong, and she admitted she did it. But at least she stand up like a lady, and she resigned. The best thing she could do, get out of the way and let the country go on, as it should. Now, I understand from this speech that you play tonight, transparency, and we're going to do things the right way. And so we expect that. We don't expect the old shenanigans to go on from way back. You go in and you split for that. And if you're going to criticize those who were there before you and say that they're giving Tom, Dick, and Harry work and job because they're related to you, and you feel like that is wrong, well, don't do the same thing when you get in there. Do not do it. No wife, no sister, no nephew, no niece, no nothing.
Okay.
Because you criticize it with your predecessors, and you're going and do the same thing. You make no difference, and you cannot convince anybody that you will do what you preach and say you will do.
Okay.
That is, I will come back later on. Thank you so long.
Thank you very much for your input. As usual, my dear brother, we go straight back to the lines. Caller, you are hello, caller. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Okay, we seem to miss a caller. This email reads, blessings and greetings. Dr. Jew and his administration aren't practicing what they are preaching. Minister Samuel Duggins, his wife, is chairperson of the St. Kitts and Nevis Board of Tourism. It would be interesting to see how Mark Grantley would operate as opposition leader and part of the federal government. St. Kitts and Nevis really needs constitutional reform. Continue to keep up the good works, reads this email. Let us go back to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller. Okay, we seem to be missing that particular call. But this other email reads, I'll take these emails in the meantime. I listened to the Prime Minister. I listened to the Prime Minister's press conference and paid special attention to the journalists' questions, especially in light of the Novel Media Association they recently formed, and more so to see how vigorous, straightforward, and precise they were going to be. During the appearance on radio, they gave the public high expectations that they would see a difference at the next press conference. They promised they would be undaunted in their approach to ask the hard questions, for there are many to be asked. However, I am not surprised at their namby-pamby, uninspired performance coupled with their dull questions was nothing but an anticlimax. A bunch of cowards, men and women, parading as journalists in the Federation should be ashamed of themselves to be called journalists. And I can understand that emailer's a point, because the media is the voice, or should be the voice of the masses, but you wonder what's happening. They call you live. Hello, caller. Caller, could you turn your radio down?
Can I turn my radio down?
Please, yes, turn your radio down.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, good night.
Good night, my dear.
Yes.
I can still hear your radio. Just turn your radio down and listen to your telephone. Forget the radio, listen to your telephone.
It's down.
I can hear your radio in the background. It's not down.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but turn your radio down, please. I want the world to hear you as well.
Yeah, good night.
Yes, good night, my dear.
Good night. I'm a concerned citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm so concerned about Mr. Liam Natter. I could remember when we was campaigning, they say in their own words that whatever Liam Natter deserved, he was going to get it. Yes, and he lose his job, and he was so concerned. This man was so aggressive in campaigning, and he was the host. He was the host of campaigning. Every time he on the stage, and this man campaigned so hard and lose his job. He even went to court with the farmer government. And now that this man don't realize, and everybody in this world don't realize that this man wins something, that he wins, that everybody could go campaign and do whatever they want when they right. And then how come this man don't work hard and can't get his money? I could remember when Labour was campaigning, they say, oh, the first person to get back the money from this government was Liam Natter. Why are you treating this man so bad? And this man was there for all of you. Dr. Joe, remember when I was campaigning and we was behind you? I said, Liam Natter, first person have to get the money was Liam Natter. Why are you treating this man so bad? And I got to realize that even Kenny from Sunny Point, Lord, because they win the seat, look after them two man. They're in this thing too long. Treat them well. I'm a concerned citizen. You don't know where I have to be from, or you don't know where I'm from, but Lord, I'm balling out. Treat this two man good man. Treat Natter, and Kenny good.
But isn't Kenny appointed already? Oh, she's gone anyway. Well, the lady is crying out for her comrades, and I'm sure they are listening and would perhaps act upon your cries. Many people thought that when the time came for the appointment of the opposition leader in the House, Mark would follow the example of Vance Amory and cede it to his deputy Alexis. Amory, similar to when Amory turned it over to his deputy Malcolm Gishard, because it looked really, really stupid to see a man as premier and opposition leader simultaneously in a country, or at least give it to the beleaguered and battered Sean, which would at least generate some animation in Sean and the PAM party that he was working with him in the elections to form a real unity. Keeping the promise movement government. Now that he has brought political shame and disgrace to PAM and its leader, he now said last night in his own program, referring to Sean and PAM, the election is over And those that did not find themselves, that now find themselves on the scrap heap for the decision they took, it's a matter for them. Oh, what a manner of man is this, Mark Brantley reads this email. My Straight Talk family, it's 22 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. Tonight we're looking at my thesis, as I said tonight, is born in me rice and Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, as I said earlier, for those who had just joined me, I got a friend who called me from Nevis on Monday, and he was real livid. He was angry. He was furious after, according to him, listening to a comment made by the Prime Minister at his press conference. And the comment went something like this, my Straight Talk family.
Covered each other, and we discovered each island. Nevis had become the go-to island for Kittitians, and St. Kitts had become the go-to island for Nevisians. You have people from St. Kitts who say, let's catch the boat and go over Nevis for dinner or lunch. And Nevisians over there say, let's go back there, go buy some Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Well, my friend took umbrage with that comment and said if he really wants a good chicken, he will go by Rodney. Rodney, my good friend Rodney. But you had a golden opportunity, really, to stop politicking and start governing. But I'm so disappointed that he dropped the ball, my Straight Talk family. You promised a new day and a better way. But all he talks about is this dark, deep hole in some bank. His age talks about treasury rapists. But if somebody did wrong, then bring them to justice. Tell us what went wrong and stop politicking. There's nothing new about the current leadership when compared with their predecessors. Well, let's go back to the lines, caller. You are live. Good night. It's
good night. How are you?
I am peaceful. It's 25 past 9. How are you?
Not too bad. If Leon Natter don't get him money, he have a big job, so he could get him money after. And Mark said that to shame off them, to show them how foolish they was and how foolish they be. Because they know Timothy was doing good and he will be the only best prime minister. And they should wait. They're bawling now. Why are you bawling for? Good night.
Good night, my dear. You always sound like Alice in Wonderland, but always short, precise, and to the point. But there's nothing new about the leadership, and I know I hear you say it's early times. But if you only have one opportunity to give a first impression, one opportunity, and he has given us that first impression. And many are already saying that there's nothing new about the leadership. When you look at the Labour Party leaders, look at what they normally do. You come in, you get rid of the Governor General. You start to fight with Nevis. And we can go on and on. But as my friend said, he said his grandfather told his family that Bradshaw promised them bones in their rice and pepper in their soup. And that has been always debated because there's no documentation, recorded documentation, that Bradshaw in fact said that. But this was an account given by Uriel Swanston, but I'll get to that account when I take this call or after I take this call. Call you live.
Okay.
Hello?
How are you, darling?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Well, I'm not too bad. We're not crying, you know. We just rejoicing, you know, because things are good. You see what happens when something gets in your hand and it no belongs to you, and it come out even hard. Who gets that? Because the Prime Minister, the ex-one, thought that he would have get back who jam was tight. But the people them say, why whether you give me money, yes or not, no chance to you again because you take one and it belongs to you. Okay, so have a good night, sweetie.
Let me ask you a question, sweetie. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, darling.
Are you saying that things are good? That's what you just said?
Things going sweet.
Sweet. Okay.
Sweet.
Even though the food price has gone up?
The food prices?
Yeah.
Well, come and tell you something. It was up before.
But it's going up. You agree?
Well, you see, why you got to go? Because we importing, we have them here. We are importing them and people taking risks. And the word of God says, in the last days, things wouldn't be always the same. Things are going up and up.
So it's good even though the gas price has gone up too, right?
Even the gas?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we not got them, we importing them.
Yeah. So what are we doing about it? What is
what are we doing?
Yeah, what you suggest we do about that? Because things are sweet for you, but people are crying out. You know that, right?
Before that we were crying.
Yes, but people are crying.
But we were crying.
You're right.
And we were crying. A lot of people were crying silently and afraid to speak out. Understand me?
I wouldn't doubt you. A
lot of people were crying and afraid to speak out. And some of them know. Still crying, gonna still cry because what was for them, take it from them.
But you would agree that, with all you hear them talk about inflation and low growth, economic growth and so on, with the war in Russia, and other issues. I mean, you ought to be concerned, don't you think?
Of course, because as I told you that these things will happen, the word of God says we can't take back.
Yeah, but
cannot go backward.
Yeah, but faith without works is, what the Bible says about that, right? So you want your leaders to put some policies in place to lessen, reduce the impact on the poor people. Don't you think so?
Well, what happened? We take time. We're going to do that because who was there? If they had set an example and put things good. It would have been better. So give this one a chance.
So are you saying
there wasn't doing it? So let me see what this can do.
Okay, give him a chance. I agree with you.
Example follow.
But can I ask you a question again? I'm sorry to interrupt this time, right? So are you saying that over 3,000 or more persons got their roofs repaired? That wasn't something good?
Roof repairs?
Yeah. You got yours repaired?
No. Me repair mine myself when we get mine damaged because.
Okay. So you repair yourself. Okay.
That was something good, yes. That people get the house with roof, but some get them one repair in the poorest way, and some get them one do in the best way because when you're gonna give some of them galvanized and give me shingle, who get the best one? Who got the best? Everybody got a favorite. Understand me? It is that is true, but some get better than some.
So at least some good things were done, but you say bad things were done, though, right?
Yes, good things were done.
Okay, but that's what I wanted to hear, right?
Yes, good things were done.
And what you expect?
But when you take things that belongs to you, you're going to get out of your hand, and that's what happens.
What the thing that didn't belong to you? And straight talk, we don't talk in parables. We talk straight.
Yeah, well, you see, if you did wait, when a man no wait to what belongs to them, And they take things, one belongs to them, and they get away from them. He had to get back. Have a good night, sweetie.
Okay.
Hello, dear.
When we're talking in parables, you're on straight talk. No, I don't understand.
Yes.
Take things but don't belong to them. Be specific.
Yeah.
You sound like the Prime Minister or something in a dark hole. I mean, what do you really mean? Take things that don't belong to them.
Have a good night, sweetie. I can't go no more.
Okay. Have a good night, my dear. Have a good night, my dear. Thanks for calling. And I'm happy you're still rejoicing. As you said, you're rejoicing, and you have a right to if your government is in office, right? But one thing, though, as someone said earlier, that there's no democracy without truth. But the truth is always controversial, and some will rejoice and some will be sad. But the fact is, what we have to do is change the things we can and accept the things that we cannot change. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
You could hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
I just hear some bomb. It's coming from Ukraine. No, Mr. Liburd, I noticed now this lady always coming and you're accommodating her with cheap foolishness. To you.
Okay, all right. We need not go there, quite frankly, right? We need not go there because it is the prerogative of the host to entertain everyone, right? And so everyone has a voice in a democracy, right? We have a constitution which guarantees our fundamental rights and freedoms, and one of such is the right to speak, freedom of speech, as it is said. So let's not go there. We have to entertain all views, and Straight Talk does that. And Straight Talk has done that from the beginning, and will continue to do that. But as I was saying, my Straight Talk family, that was a little aside. It's now 9:34. It's 26 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour, and I'll take this other email before I go back to the lines. With Brantley now appointed opposition leader, that is another salary for him, which makes it 3 monthly fat salaries, plus the other fringe financial benefits he will receive. He will also be getting an office and a secretary, who will be paid by the federal government. And no doubt that secretary will be operating out of his law office in Charlestown, and the federal government will pay him rent for the building, just as it was several years ago when he held the said post. So while Mark will be sucking the honey juice of Labour's breast, Sean is out in the political wilderness, licking his wounds and grieve and cogitate over the missteps he made as a result of Mark Brantley's influence. We cannot confirm, though, that what was just read in terms of the opposition leader paying rent of a building owned by the leader of the opposition. So we didn't know if that's what transpired years ago, and we just have to verify that, but we cannot confirm that it is so. I must state from the onset. But at 24 before the 10 o'clock hour, if you have just joined me, my family, my thesis tonight was entitled, or is entitled, Bones in Me Rice and Kentucky Fried Chicken. Someone said it's a national dish. And as I said earlier, it derived from a call I received from a friend on Monday. And my friend was upset. He was angry for what he heard. As my friend said, the Prime Minister Jew had a golden opportunity to stop politicking and start governing. But I'm so disappointed. He was so disappointed, said my friend, because the Prime Minister dropped the ball. The Prime Minister dropped the ball, according to my friend. Now, Dr. Drew promised a new day and a better way. But there's nothing new, according to my friend, about his leadership when compared to his predecessors in the Labour Party, the Right Honourables Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw and his godson Denzel Llewellyn Douglas. My friend went on. I'll take a break and go back to the lines. I'll call you live.
Yeah, Patches.
So,
yeah, Patches.
Yes, my lord.
Yeah. Brother, telling everybody who close to you are your good friend, you know.
What's the point?
Telling everybody. Because Bob Marley reminds us that it's only your friend knows your secret. And it's only he or she can reveal it. Lot of people rubbing shoulders with you every day, and you think they got you in the heart as a friend. They were stabbing you in the back. A hypocrite, snake. And it's only when things get rough, when the water get rough, then you know who are your friends. And some of them go in church every Sunday, Wednesday, whenever they do worship. And they're telling you, oh, you must have faith in God, man. Have faith. Where are their faith? Them the faith spell F-A-T-E. That is the faith for death. But the F-A-I-T-H, let her exhibit it. The winner only change. And all of them, they're not going to faith in God now. That they will live on because God would not give us more than we can bear. So therefore they don't remember the F-A-I-T-H. They're frightened and afraid. They fear man and not God. God is who give work. When man shut one door, God open four more. Let them exercise the faith now. A lot of them jump over the fence. And you can't believe them, they were the ones who were shoving up. But they were supporting unity. And even so, they were supporting PAM out of the unity, and they were supporting PLP. Where are them today? Why are you coward? Come out and speak out. If you see something is wrong, say it is wrong. It doesn't matter who doing it. And if you see something doing good, commend them. You don't have to abuse people and curse them because you're not backing the party. Fair is fair. Leave the problems to God. If God put us here, when you're ready, He will say, come. You don't be afraid of man. Thank you, Patches. Oh, before I go, the bone in the rice is for people who got teeth. Because if you're not going to teeth, you can't bite bone. So therefore, leave the bone in the rice. If you're not going to teeth, I'm going to drink the pepper in the soup. You could say, like dog and pigeon. Have a good night, Patches.
Have a good night, my brother. It's now 9:40, 20 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. And as there's no account nowhere that Bradshaw made that comment. And as I said before, it was Uriel Swanson, my good friend Uriel. I think he's still around. He said this. This was his account, people.
And Eugene Warren spoke on that platform. And his words to the people of Nevis was, you know who I am here with? I am here with Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw. This is the man who promised you bone in your rice and pepper in your soup. But instead of getting bone in your rice and pepper in your soup, you get chicken pilau in your rice, and the pepper was like okra.
Eugene?
Yes, my brother, greetings. How art thou?
I turn a love and honor. Good night to you, brother Patches. How your night is right?
Oh, peaceful, peaceful. Sounds like Ras Isle.
Yes, it's like eternal love. I give him thanks. We are here in the Nayabing gathering right now, so we just say, let me give a call to indicate what your meditation of your word count to this service of this nation in your information sharing.
Well, tonight, as I said, my thesis, in case you just join us, is entitled "Bones in Your Rice and Pepper." Sorry, bone in me rice and Kentucky Fried Chicken and Kentucky Fried Chicken, because I don't know if you actually have followed the comments of Prime Minister Drew that seemed at least upset a friend of mine from Nevis when he said that we have rediscovered Nevis and divisions have rediscovered St. Kitts, and divisions come to St. Kitts to get the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Did you hear that comment?
I didn't hear that comment, but I wouldn't disclose that he didn't make. I will say we are a federation, so we must be able to enhance how to travel to one file of the shows between both federations.
That is true.
So I was over Nevis last Saturday at the Indian Castle Archer Farm, and it was a good outline setting that was to highlight the production that is going over in that area, way over and Hanley Road, and the far end of the estate area of Indian Castle. So I had a nice time.
Well, that's been happening a long time though. I mean, there's no rediscovery. We've been going to and fro from Nevis and from St. Kitts for years. I mean,
saying something new, that's why I say the man who making them statement, they need to just hold their tongue and just say, let us share love with one another. Yeah. No more hatred, because those kind of echo there is being like we only for our own individual concept. Me not in an individual here. Because me alone cannot do what needs to be done when it's supposed to be doing. Because when we look at it here, brother Patches, I'm serious about it here now. Because there's a lot of things we need to really share now in the moments of how St. Kitts and Nevis is linked within as a federation. And until we find that way of maintaining that changes in, people are going to always come with some stupid statement in a ridiculous way towards their own fellow men and women. The thing of the same St. Kitts and Nevis. So it's a way of finding how we could get away from that, because that is not making us go into the safeguard that we need to be safeguard to one another. If we say we're looking at a federation development, we don't care how much money I pound in project, and we look at it, we see these projects are overrun and overcost, but we still ain't see the development strive because some greediness employed of what is supposed to be equality to one another. Although the premier just recently said he's always looking to have equal share to Nevis and St. Kitts. So we would like to say to the premier, it's equal share, yes, but education in this share must be permanent to all from the St. Kitts and Nevis end to the Nevis end of the leg, how when they go forward, because don't try to pay the equal share and you still say that you ain't giving the Nevis people that they're supposed to get. We not play them kind of game around in development, That's what we say. It's time. We know a lot of talking. Work needs to be done. And St. Kitts and Nevis need to work together as a federation and stop with this competing stupidness where we go around here. Let us set our table straight, because we are educated people. Just say we say in the little free way, which in examination to our new university, our college, and our university is them. I'm glad we see that we read my way forward with research. So I hope the people of St. Kitts and Nevis bring out betterment than that statement said. What you say now?
That's a university, Rasa. That's the university of the world. You went to the university of the world.
What university of the world, Rabbi?
When you say you didn't go to Harvard and
no, me not trust them by there because them are moderation, Me and my university in Sankowe, you know. Remember me the world's first university. So me was in Sankowe in Spain, Granada, Spain. So if you want to really talk about something, I could talk about where we make Europe a nation, a continent to shine upon this earth, and Europe take a stab in our back. That's why they're falling the one vomit. Today, that the Prime Minister of the old Great Britannia, where they call Britain, resigned in 48 days. She ruled all of that. What? Well, imagine she one party them make up that farmer for. Is a whole disgrace to all those dirty, racist, insane mad people up there, and we get a constitution from them for the patches. But then they still don't have a constitution. So that's a madness I want to know in England, you know. Because the devil got now, so the madman come to rule the throne, named King Charles III. I better wake up because evilness ain't gonna look too long, you know. Because when they think they're doing with fire burning Babylon system, but I love him, my brethren. Keep on focusing in love because the Almighty is real, you know. And he never died.
Yes,
you see? Don't put your trust in mankind. Not trust mankind, but love mankind. Love mankind and respect mankind. Because I are human beings. You're not perfect. Blessed night to you. Give thanks.
Thanks, my dear brother. Yes, we all ought to trust in God. Caller, thank you for holding your life. Hello, caller. My brother.
I just want to ask this quick question. So when Mark Grantley go up to dress after you speak or Prime Minister speak, why he gonna go up and address them as the opposition leader or the Premier of Nevis? So how much time he gonna get? He gonna speak for the Premier and he gonna speak for the opposition? I'll take my answer after you. Thank you, sir.
Interesting question, my dear brother, and it's very, very instructive if one reads or when one reads the Constitution as it relates to, I think it's section 58, the section of the Constitution which speaks to the leader of the opposition. And it says, and I'll find it now in a minute for you, as you ask that question, is that the Constitution is very clear as it relates to these appointments. And when it comes to the leader of the opposition, I think, as I said, I think it's 58. Section 58, yes, it is. The leader of the opposition. And the Constitution reads that, and as strange but true, it was Carl Brown some time ago did raise that question about the leader of the opposition. And it says there shall be a leader of the opposition. Or, I'm paraphrasing it, let me read the Constitution. There shall, except at times when no representative is eligible for appointment, be a leader of the opposition in the National Assembly who shall be appointed by the Governor General. But I want to go back to the lines, but quickly to address your question, though, it says, though, very interesting, that whenever there is an occasion for the appointment of a leader of the opposition, the Governor General shall appoint the representative who are most likely to command the support of the majority of the representatives who do not support the government. Isn't that interesting? Caller, I want to thank you for holding your live.
Yes. Mr. Patrice.
Yes, my dear.
Mr. Patrice.
I'm hearing you. The world is listening.
Yes. You know why I come in on the show? I come in on the show because I like the show. It's entertaining, and I don't want to say nobody call in and stay. But I'm going to tell you, a lot, you know, there were times that when you're on the show, you had to say, hold, finish. 1 second, because a lot of people were holding the line. But a lot of them now, they were pretenders. You understand me?
I'm listening.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening.
They were pretenders. And that's why you can hear some of them now, because They were pretending them are LPP and the PAM, but they were miserable underneath them in the wolf clothes. And that's why you see even things that are bother them now, and some of them can't come out because they want to do. But you know what I like to hear? The man we call him, his name is some of East. I love hearing cars.
Who?
The young man who just call him from up East, he don't fear nothing at all.
Rasaya.
None of Rasaya, the man from up Mulling the way. I just forget his name.
I don't know that one.
Yes. Anyhow, I'm going to call you now and again because I want you to keep this show going, because when we're not sleepy and other people are sleepy, we entertain them. When the people like what people say yes or not, people have a right to say what they want to say. Because there were times that people used to say things here and I didn't like it neither, but I just had to smile it off. You understand me? So if somebody says something now that maybe don't like, they should just smile it off too. Anyhow, enjoy and
okay.
Just continue the show.
Thanks a lot for your input.
Yeah.
My dear sister, and like we said, you know, as Straight Talk is everybody's show, we entertain all shades of views, all sorts of views. That's what makes democracy. Democracy is about truth. There's no democracy without truth, and the truth is always controversial. And there's no change without freedom, and there is no freedom without progress. Because yes, there's no change. You have freedom to change, but there's no progress if we don't. There's no freedom rather without progress. And yes, I know. I think I recognize that voice said you were rejoicing, and things are hard. Food prices are high, you know, and you went on and on, but you're rejoicing. But obviously, there'll be always greater and or lesser. Let's go back to the lines. It's 6 before 10 o'clock. I'll call you live.
Mr. Patel?
Yes, man. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, man, just remember to turn your radio down, no? Can you do that?
Mr. Turn the radio.
What's that then?
Mr. Turn the radio.
Who's radio playing then?
All right.
But go ahead. What's on the
in Galatians chapter 6, verse 7, God is not mocked. Whatsoever man soweth,
so shall he reap.
He shall also reap. It's a package you can so put it the vine and expect to reap yam. And a lot of them right now. So in you sow bad seed, a bad seed you won't get. Now in Proverbs chapter 6, it says there are 6 things that God hates. The 7th is abomination unto him. God tell you he hates a proud look. He tell you in the same passage scripture, them who suck discord among the brethren. He tell you in the same passage scripture, them speak lawyer. I talk about mischief in the same passage scripture. Proverbs chapter 6. Okay. Read it, Mr. Patel. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, I got you loud and clear, my brother. Got you loud.
Okay, all right.
Have a good night. Have a good night. Don't know where that's probably an invisible radio making noise. But as we wind down tonight's programming, I'll perhaps take one more call. before we wrap for the night. And as I said, and a lot has been said about the leader of the opposition. And this message reads, Patches, I think that the appointment of Mark Brantley as the leader of the opposition is a conflict. Who is going to speak for the people in opposition to the government when he's going to be traveling up and down with the government? Mark should have declined the offer. But you see, Mark is an opportunist and thinks of no one but himself. He's going to be sucking up to the government at all times. And yes, I don't doubt that whatsoever. My straight up family, I perhaps take this and make this my final call for the night. Caller, you're live.
Mr. Patches, Ian Patches Liburd, greetings to you, my brother. How are you?
I am peaceful, my brother. And yourself?
I'm very, very good, you know. Very good.
Good to hear you, man. Good to hear you.
You continue giving the nation very educational topics, which is good.
Thank you. I'm humble.
Over the years, I always tell you, stick to the topics, and that's good. You're being consistent in doing so. Mr. Patches, from the election that was held, I really was looking forward to see a new name, a new face as an opposition leader. I, for one, would have liked to see members of Mr. Brantley's team challenge his leadership from the last election, because it has deserved challenging. And in that respect, I would have liked to see even Mr. Eric Evelyn to be the opposition leader. But it seems as though it won't be like that. And I observe, Mr. Patches, that in our country, our educated guys who should take the mantle of our country to help our people be liberated, it seems as though they are just putting us, revolving democracy. And it's not good. It cannot be good for the Federation. Because here is it. You had a deputy prime minister, the best position in his life, and at no time he think of himself, of what he's doing. And that's what's so sad. So, Mr. Patches, you continue. I wish Prime Minister Jew and his cabinet the best. And he have to remember also young people are inexperienced. They need guidance. And I'll remember God is the head of all governments. Mr. Patches, you continue to be strong and stay focused. God bless you.
Thank you very much. You stay focused as well. Always do have some very instructive interventions, very educational as well. And you're also right. And as I said before, I read an excerpt from the Constitution speaking to the opposition leader. And it says, which is very, very instructive, and I quote here, whenever there is an occasion for the appointment of a leader of the opposition, the Governor General shall appoint the representative who appears to him or her most likely to command the support of a majority of the representatives who do not, underline, who do not support the government. And one must ask the question whether Mark Brantley supports or do not support the government. I know he's on record of saying he spent his political career fighting against the Labour Party. But that was then. But today, Mark Brantley must be considered the biggest snake in the parliament. And I say so because Mark Brantley has run Nevis broke. Mark Brantley has taken Nevis to the brink of bankruptcy. As we speak, he has a $53 million budget deficit. Mark Brantley racked up nearly $500 million in debt in Nevis. So, you ask the question, the Premier of Nevis, being leader of the opposition, must be a cause for concern. And yes, he has started to butter up Prime Minister Joe. He called him a man of his word. But Mark Brantley, as I said earlier, is a big snake in the parliament. And I continue to use that proposition as a metaphor for the hidden danger in Mark Brantley. And I use it to warn Dr. Joe about Brantley's political reputation. He needs a lifeline. He needs that lifeline. Should Joe give him? What Joe should do is to ensure that he does things equitably. As he said in his beginning, he must do things that's fair for St. Kitts and fair for Nevis and through a legislative framework. So my thesis was bones in me rice and Kentucky fried. It derived from a call, like I said, from a friend. But we have to beware. We have to beware and we need transparency. And again, as I wind down, I'm disappointed with those in the media. I said some years ago, and I repeat it, there is corruption in the media. The media, or as it is called, the fourth estate, should be the voice of the masses. But the media in St. Kitts Nevis, sorry to say, some of us, yes, us, I include myself, we are acting like palace guards for this new government and allowing it to continue to politic instead of conducting policy and the affairs of the country. So often you hear things like the treasury rapists, money going down a dark, deep hole, where the money was going to. Well, if you have information, make it public. Put it people on the spot. We don't want no bone in me rice. We don't want no pepper in me soup. We don't want no Kentucky fried chicken. We don't want no Kentucky fried chicken, Prime Minister Joe. St. Kitts and Nevis was discovered long ago by all of us.
I have come to recognize more than ever that each other, and we discovered each island. Nevis had become the go-to island for Kittitians, and St. Kitts had become the go-to island for Nevisians. You have people from St. Kitts who say, let's catch the boat and go over Nevis for dinner or lunch. And Nevisians over there say, man, let's go Bastille, go buy some Kentucky fried chicken.
Nothing to go so. According to my friend, if you had to wait until you come Prime Minister to rediscover Nevis, you could stop there and eat Kentucky. But me gonna stop in Nevis by my big friend Rodney and eat me chicken. That's my story tonight, and I'm not going to change it. My Straight Dog family, I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. And as always, I want to thank the callers. I want to thank the emailers. I want to thank Engineer Trent and the WinFM crew for facilitating their broadcast as well. Those are new on social media, on YouTube, on Facebook, on the Ian Patches Liburd page. Remember, it's easy. Just go Straight Talk with Ian Patches Liburd on Facebook or YouTube, and you're there. My family, I want you to enjoy the weekend. Yes, it's Thursday. We will connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until we connect, remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, my people, thank God for the morning light and thank Him for taking you tonight. And keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light, give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night, for the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe. I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. Down on my knees, the Lord I kneel and pray, my heart and soul, beg Him to take me through each day, my guardian to keep and my guide, over every step I take, He will preside. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. Text